everybody, welcome to Turn Dog Talks 2. I'm here with Rachel Elnaugh, who is of Dragon's Den fame and has written books and done numerous business things over the years. So I'm delighted to have her. We're at the Business Startup Show here in London Olympia. So thank you first, Rachel, for joining me today and sharing your marvellous expertise.
Yes, well thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's fantastic, no problem whatsoever. Well, to start with, can you just give us a quick overview about who you are and what it is that you do? Because you've got a few new things going on.
Yeah, well my first business, my real kind of business claim to fame was my first company, Red Letter Days, which I started when I was 24 and built literally from nothing into this big multi-million-pound market-leading brand, which at its height was turning over 18 million and making £1 million profit. And I over-expanded that business and then lost it. But in the meantime, I'd just starred on Dragon's Den. So I was on the first 2 series of Dragon's Den.
I remember.
Which was like a very transformational thing for me. Because obviously I sort of became a celebrity entrepreneur. And I've spent the last 7 years really in the business sector, helping other entrepreneurs on their journey, mentoring and doing training and workshops and creating products, really to help other people on their journey, as well as writing a book about my own problems called Business Nightmares.
Business Nightmares, I think that taps in perfectly for what we're doing with the Success Mistake, and that is indeed what this video is all about. It's about trying to find out your biggest mistake and how you turned it around, because you're still here, you're still writing, and you're still helping people. So let's dig straight into it. Tell us a story about that big mistake and what happened.
Well, I think you're absolutely right that actually at the time, what seems like a mistake when you look back is a tremendous learning experience, but at the time it's really difficult to see that. And also I think with mistakes, when you look back, you can make more sense of them than at the time, you know.
Absolutely. Hindsight.
So I think if I had to pinpoint one thing on my journey that probably was the biggest cock-up, really, was with my first business, Red Letter Days. You know, we had an amazing business. It was turning over millions. It was making £1 million profit. And really, if you've got a business that's doing that well, really it's not sensible to kind of change it. But actually what happened was we kind of step changed the business, and we decided to kind of go for growth and to float, and that we were going to sell it. And I think the mindset of the business really shifted away from what great experiences could we do, what amazing things could we offer, into how can we make money. And I think when you have that shift, that's my personal thing, and I notice it so often with mentoring, is that when you come from a place of how can I make money, how can I make money, it's not actually a very successful strategy. Much better to come from how can I create great stuff that people love. And so I think it was that mindset shift that was the biggest mistake of changing into how can we make profit, how can we make money. Led us completely down the wrong direction.
It's interesting you say that, because I was actually speaking to one of my partners last night about exactly this. As soon as you start focusing on money, it can quite often taint your process and just take you down a bad direction. How long into the process was this? Was this after a couple of years? 5 years? How far was it when you kind of turned?
The business was about 12 years old. So we were doing about 14 million turnover by that point. We got some big retail deals, and we just embarked on this whole step change project, which was actually 30 different projects to really kind of take the business to the next stage. And one of the things was actually bringing in a chief executive to replace me, which was another, in hindsight, another big mistake. And I think if anyone is looking at putting in a chief exec to replace them, any entrepreneur who's got an established business, definitely groom someone up through the business rather than parachute someone in from a different organisation, because business lost a lot of its entrepreneurial magic through doing that. So that was another big part of that, was that we moved from being a very entrepreneurial business into this big corporate project managed machine, really. It kind of lost its heart, I think.
Sort of more forced growth rather than organic.
Yeah, exactly. And just a total change in cultural focus.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to change the culture of a business, or dangerous, I should say. When you have a business that's really successful culturally, and it's got a really good ethic, when you start playing with that, switching the culture, it can completely destroy everything, because it destroys the energy you feel, and the staff get demoralised, customers pick up on that.
So it's interesting you say that, because a lot of people will always look at growth as a very dangerous time. It's a time when you need to reflect and take a step back sometimes. But this happened after 12 years when you were making, fantastic turnover. It shows that even an established business who's got a decade behind it,
Yeah.
millions in the bank, it can still be a very dangerous time if you don't approach it in the correct way.
Well, that's the thing, and I think actually when you're successful, you're actually at your most vulnerable, because you take your eye off the ball, you start to get a bit complacent, you think good times will roll forever, and you think you've got the Midas touch actually, and that anything you touch is going to turn to gold. And it's actually, and a lot of entrepreneurs do fail in that phase when they're getting all the awards and they're winning all the success. That's actually your most vulnerable time.
Let the concentration slip a bit.
Yeah.
So what did this do to you on a personal level in terms of your emotional state towards, I guess, business in general? Did it change your mantra and how you approach things?
Well, the thing is that when you have a disaster like that with a business, it's sort of, first it doesn't become apparent immediately, and then it takes time to work through. So actually there were 2.5 years of working through problems before the business finally was forced into administration, even though we had 3.3 million cash in bank, and that was another kind of irony of it. But so during that time, I was literally going into battle every single day, and I think in business you can easily get into a place where you don't realise how stressful it is, and then suddenly you lose that business, literally, like all this pressure suddenly lifted. And it was a massive relief, actually, when we finally had to sign the paperwork and kind of put it into administration. I thought that would be the worst possible thing that could ever happen to me, but actually the reality was, it was like, oh, thank God for that, so I don't have to go into battle. It was August, I just had a week-old baby, I could be a mother, I'd just been on Dragon's Den, so I had all of that stuff, the kind of fame thing starting to kick in, and speaking gigs, and it completely changed my life. So I think sometimes you've got to let go of the old to allow the new in.
Is that when you turn to things like writing and everything like
Well, I was offered, one of the first things, I was offered a book deal and a lump of money. Advance royalty, yeah.
With,
show the book.
There we go. That's a book
so
there.
Business Nightmares, and it's quite nice to just be given cash and to be told, write a book about whatever you want. So this isn't just my story; it's actually a story about surviving adversity, and 20 different entrepreneurs featured. So
Fantastic.
It was really a cathartic process about the very fine line between success and failure in business. There's a very fine line. And there were so many times when we almost came back from the brink and then finally kind of fell over.
It's fantastic because it sounds like this, well, on the outside looking in, a disastrous mistake. It was the worst thing that could happen, ended your business, that dream you had, but it reinvigorated this new passion, and it's taken you in, from strength to strength, and it re-embarked you onto a new journey.
Oh yeah, I mean my life now, I would say, is much happier, much more enjoyable, much more fulfilling than my old life back then, even though I was making millions of pounds.
Yeah.
But actually, it was just like this constant making money process and focusing on making more money and more money. And now I'm not making nearly as much money as then, but in terms of fulfillment and kind of prosperity, much happier, yes. And I think that's the thing, I just think actually go for happiness. It's kind of my mantra.
I think that's fantastic advice for young people, because like you said, money can taint us all. You get that success, you get the accolades, you take your eye off the ball.
Yeah.
But it took this for you to realise that actually happiness isn't just money. You only need enough money to really survive in this world, and then happiness comes elsewhere.
Well, I wouldn't go. The thing is that prosperity comes in lots of forms, so cash is just one of them. So when you're in that flow of abundance, where you're working through your passion and you love stuff, you kind of get to amazing people and opportunities, and abundance shows up in lots of different forms. And then the cash comes with it,
Absolutely.
So, and it's like when you're really just focused on money, 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 you kind of ignore, you miss a lot of that,
I couldn't agree more. So to finish things off, I think these are fantastic words for anybody young and new entrepreneurs watching this. If you could give one piece of advice to someone just starting out, regardless of their age, what would it be?
I would have to say, really, really follow your passion in business. You know, do a business because it's something you love and because you really feel you can be of service to the world or to people. Because when you come from that place of passion and service, it's a completely different energy to that. How can I make money? How can I make money? And I do meet a lot of people who kind of are not doing the thing they love because they have a belief that they can't make money from it, so they have to sort of prostitute themselves to do a job that they really don't like.
Yeah.
And I'd really say put your passion at the heart of your business, put a business model around it that will deliver the money, and then really go for it, because it's a real gift to yourself and to the world to really work from that kind of heart space.
Fantastic. So you've heard it here first, people. Build your business around your passion and the rest will click into place. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Rachel, for taking time this busy day. I can't wait to see her talk in about 2 hours time, so it's going to be great. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.